Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's time for Ask Huda. I'm your host, Fuad Muhammad. Today we welcome on the program our dear and respected Islamic scholar, Dr. Muhammad Salah. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Fuad. Jazakallahu khairan.
Barakallahu feek. Just before we take our first question, a quick reminder of our telephone numbers, 00-202-385555, 248 or 249, or you can write to us at ask, that's ask, @huda.tv. Okay, Doctor, we have our first question here from Brother Yasser from the UAE. He said he bought a piece of land for investment, and he mentioned that the land is a barren land, meaning that he doesn't grow any crops on it, but he wants to know if he has to pay zakah. And if he has to, how does he calculate the zakah?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wal aqibatu lil muttaqin wa la udwana illa ala al-zalimin wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil awwalin wal akhirin sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. All praise due to Allah alone. We praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. With regards to zakah payment on properties or lands which a person may purchase for the purpose of resale or trade. If this is the person's business, that he buys properties and he sells them, so from the moment that he purchases a property or a land, then it is zakatable. I mean, we will not begin a new hawl or a new lunar calendar from the time, lunar year from the time that he purchased the land. No, rather, because initially it was money or cash or dollars or euros or whatever. So he transferred that into a property. So the lunar calendar or year will resume since he already possessed the nisab, and it is zakatable. The case is totally different whenever a person happens to receive his retirement plan, for instance, or inherits a property. Then he decided to sell it, and he's not a merchant. He put it for sale. So in this case, it will be zakatable once he sells it and he collects the fund for it. From that moment, we will count the hawl and he will pay the zakah on it. So what will differentiate between the property of being arab min urud al-tijara, one of the items which are prepared for sale or trade, or not, is that the person's business is to trade in electronics, furniture, properties or whatever, so the zakah would apply to all of that. But if somebody decided to sell his flat or his apartment which he is living in, not for a trade, but he's selling it, he's moving to another place, so his intention is not a business, rather he is just selling it. So once he collects the money, it is zakatable. Somebody else, his business is, he's got the cash and he buys flats here and there. So from the moment that he buys a flat with the intention of resale, not to live in it, it is zakatable as well. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay. We have Abdullah from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question is regarding the very popular website called Facebook. In this site, there are a lot of quizzes, like you can answer those quizzes and to calculate your death time, to know about what you were in your past life, and such stuff, and to know your fortune and such things. I am aware that these all are haram, but I have seen that a lot of my Muslim friends and relatives check all these things, like they answer these quizzes, and to know when they'll die, and to know what they were in their past life and such things. I think as a Muslim I'm supposed to do dawah to them and to tell them that this is wrong. But how do I go about? Because if I tell them, they say, like this is just for fun they are doing. They are not like, they don't mean it, and they don't really, they don't accept it. But still they write on, they comment on it, I knew it, that in my past life I was this, that's why I like this color.
Okay, I got the question, Sister Abdullah there from Qatar. Okay, we'll take, that's Sister Abdullah there from Qatar. Sister Wafa's next question here is, she said she heard a sheikh saying that istikhara before making a decision is not necessary, since the person may lose the opportunity rather than take a decision at once. Rather, he should take the decision and then pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it.
I believe this is the opposite of the obvious meaning of the hadith. Because whenever a person makes a decision, signs up for a contract, for instance, or gives a ijab and qabul, buys a car. So what is the purpose of praying istikhara after already paying the money, purchasing the vehicle, and it's in your ownership? What is the purpose of istikhara? Let's examine the actual meaning of the hadith with paying close attention to one term, to one verb that is included in the hadith. The hadith is collected by Imam al-Bukhari. It was discussed repeatedly over time. It is narrated by Jabir ibn Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him and his father. He said that the Prophet ﷺ used to teach us al-istikhara, the prayer and the dua, as often as he used to teach us the surah of the Quran. What did he say? He said, إِذَا هَمَّ أَحَدُكُمْ بِالْأَمْرِ. The term hamma means if you are about to do something, have not made the decision yet, did not indulge into the activity yet. Al-ham is different than taking part or partaking or concluding the act itself. You're intending to do something. Ham, I'm about to get married. Ham in business, I'm about to invest in such business. So if there is a stock, for instance, in the stock market, there is a share that it's the price is very tempting and it is halal and the shaykh says it's halal, etc., etc. I want to make a decision right now. Obviously, there is a quick form of istikhara, which is making dua. Allahumma khirli wa akhtar li. Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of dua, or even saying the dua without praying the prayer. In case that the person is not in a state of tahara or does not have the time or the allowance to pray istikhara. But in regular times, before making the decision, the person must pray istikhara. First of all, salatul istikhara is sunnah. It is not a wajib. When I said must, I mean that the istikhara should precede making the decision, not after. Because when you go through the dua of al-istikhara and you say, Oh Allah, if you know in your infinite knowledge that this choice is good for me, then facilitate it for me and make it easy for me. Okay, I've already concluded the contract. I already got married. I bought the car. I sold the vehicle, or I sold the house. So what exactly am I consulting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in after I have already passed the decision and finished it? So I say, make it easy for me. If you know in your infinite knowledge, it is good for me. What if you know that it is bad for me with regards to my religious duties and worldly affairs in this life and in the hereafter? Then what do we say? We say, Oh Allah, then take it away from me and take me away from it and give me better than thereof. So the contents and the text of the istikhara, even without discussing the ahkam and the conditions and the shurut and the meaning, it's very simple to understand that I'm consulting Allah concerning a matter before making a decision in its regard. But once you make a decision and you conclude it, what is the purpose of this dua? When the sister said that what she heard that the sheikh said, the purpose of salatul istikhara is in order to ask Allah to bless you in your decision which you have already pre-made. Well, then there is no need for istikhara. There are other supplications for new ownership, supplication for whatever you bought and you wanted to wear, for your wife when you got married and before having an intimate relationship. There are supplications for that, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you in what you possess. Not after you already made the decision, you consult Allah whether you should make it or not. And we said before that among the conditions is that the person should really be fair-minded. You do not have tendency or leaning towards one decision, or you do not have the desire to do this. I say, somebody already bought the ticket and he's sitting in the plane and you say, Oh Allah, if you know in your infinite knowledge that this trip for me at this time is good for me, then make it easy for me. Excuse me, you're already in the plane. Then what is the purpose of istikhara? Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Doctor. We have Sister Wafa from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I have two questions.
Okay.
Firstly, I would like to know if it is correct from Islamic point of view to find out if black magic has been done. Actually, very recently, a very close family member who was going through lots of problems. He was told by an unknown man just walking on the street that black magic was done on him. And that was the cause of the problems that he was facing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ultimately told him to read Mawidatan and to read Surah Baqarah every 3 days and the morning and evening adhkar. And he also did not take any money. But we just wanted to know that is it possible for anyone to come to know if black magic has been done?
Okay. And your second question?
My second question was that if one of the parents have done something wrong, or if they are doing something wrong, and then if there are problems in the family which are affecting the children, is it possible that this could be due to the wrongdoing of the parents, or is it just an independent trial for the children by Allah and it is not connected in any way to the actions of the parents?
Oh, you're saying that the action of the parents is what is the result of the children?
I mean, the children are facing problems, and we feel it's just a doubt that is this just an independent trial, or is it due to anyway connected due to the wrongdoing of the parents?
Okay, I got it. Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sister Wafa there from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We also are joined by Brother Sadiq from Cyprus. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have two questions, please.
Okay.
Said yesterday someone asked me, I couldn't answer well, asked me that, okay, if someone Christian or not Muslim or other religion, non-Muslim, if they start to, as usually start the punishment become when they become baligh or mature 12 years or something.
Okay.
But someone who is 15 years or 16, 17, they follow the family. At time 16, 17, 15, if they die, what will be the funny? What
Okay.
will the God accept?
Okay, and the next question?
Explain, please. And my second question is, okay, someone new Muslim, and she knows her parents died. She knows that they are for punishment for hellfire, and God doesn't accept pray for this. But if she can pray for low punishment, just low punishment to the God that my parents low punishment. That's all, please explain.
Okay, Barakallah Fiqh,
Thank
Brother Sadiq there from Cyprus. Sister Wafa's second question, she says sometimes in Hajj and Umrah, people that line up behind the Imam, they don't pray by following the Imam. Sometimes they pray their own prayer. What should a person do in such a situation, and how can they go about advising them?
Obviously, to us, this is known that this is the Shia sect, who believe that the prayer of the Ahlul Sunnah is invalid, including the Imam of the Haram. And that's why when they line up in the prayer, this may sound very odd and brand new to many of the audience, but this is a fact, that they do not consider our prayer as valid. And if they pray behind an Imam, in fact they pray singular. Everyone prays on his or her own. So they are standing up in the prayer, reciting on their own, praying on their own. They're just following the crowd for a reason or another, for hidden agendas. And a conflict took place before my very eyes in one of the masajid, where the person placed the stone or placed an item to make sujood on top of, because they believe that you're not supposed to pray on carpet or rug, etc. So after the prayer, when people were arguing with him, because he was praying in a vast majority Sunni masjid, he said, well, because the prayer, if you pray on the carpet, the prayer is invalid. You must pray on the floor or the ground or something that's originally from the ground. Somebody asked him and said, well, so why were you praying with us then? If the Imam who's leading us was praying on the carpet, which means according to your false understanding or belief that his prayer is invalid, so why were you praying with us? He said, well, I was not following the Imam though. I was praying on my own, when he was surrounded with a big gathering trying to understand from him. This is not new. They do have an agenda, they try to infiltrate the Muslim community in order to spread their false belief. And I remember a few years back, I was sitting in the Haram, and somebody approached me. He absolutely thought that I'm a revert or something, because I could figure out from his dialogue. And he started approaching me and giving me da'wah according to his understanding. And he introduced me as a professor of Sharia in one of the main cities of the Shia schools of thoughts. Then he started instructing me as what to do. And every time I asked him about what I believe, because I'm fully aware of this sect and their different subsects and so on, that was a part of my study. I did not explain to him, nor did I show that I know anything. I am an ordinary person. So every time I asked him, so how come that you guys believe that Abu Bakr or Umar or Aisha or whatever? He said, no, we don't believe any of that. We don't say they're great companions. So right away I figured out he's a liar and he's pretending. So the purpose of those guys lining up amongst us in a jama'ah, they're not following the Imam, because they believe that the Imam's prayer is invalid. But perhaps they have a chance to single out an innocent or an ordinary or ignorant or have-educated person. And I mean with have-educated, maybe he's having a PhD degree in whatever science, but in the deen he can barely recite Surah Al-Fatiha. And that's why whenever an argument takes place, and I have witnessed a few, some of them, of the audience, would sympathize with this person and say, you people, you don't know whose prayer is right and whose prayer is wrong. Allah may accept whatever once you hear this statement, you figure out that this person managed to infiltrate the community and managed to sow the seed of fitna. And you have ignorant people around you, because when you think that you don't know whether his or her prayer is valid or yours, then you're in doubt. And this is basically quite an achievement itself. When you step in prayer, you must understand that this is the right way, and this is the right belief, and Islam is the right belief, and there is no other right belief but Islam, and there is no other right belief but the belief of the mainstream of the Ummah. Because when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about the 72 sects will go astray, he did not say all of them are cool, all of them are brothers and sisters. Not everybody says I'm a Muslim, that means he's a Muslim. We have Ahmadis, we have Qadianis, we have Ismailis who have a different faith, but they claim that they're Muslims. So we have to be aware and educated in our deen. This is the role of our channel for innocence, in order to introduce to ordinary or professional viewers what we believe is the right deen and the right understanding. So what would you do when you pray next to somebody who you notice that he or she is not actually praying with us or praying on a stone or whatever? If this person is not noticed, at least you yourself know that this person's prayer is invalid and he belongs to this sect. So do not cause any argument, because his main goal or her main goal is that they wanted somebody to raise an argument. Then they will start saying, well, read in Sahih Imam al-Bukhari, it says this and this and that. And you have no idea about who is al-Bukhari, who is Muslim, whatever. You say, those guys speak very loud and they speak the truth. They sound like they know what they're saying. They sound like they know what they're saying. And this is not the truth. So if the person was not noticed, nobody addressed them, then focus on your prayer. Because this is one of the means through which a shaitan persuades people in their prayer in order to distract their attention. If a shaitan will make you feel like you passed wind, you broke wind, or whatever, just for the sake of ruining your prayer, why not put next to you a person who may make a lot of movement, do an odd things, playing his watch, or answer the phone while he or she is praying? This is none of my business. Whenever you start the prayer, you disassociate yourself totally from the entire universe, and you focus on one thing. You are lining up between Allah's hands, and you are facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should not turn around. You should not corner somebody by your eye and look at what he or she is doing, because these are the things which would really take you out of the state of khushu'. After the prayer, if somebody raises the issue and start talking about it, then you need to maintain one thing throughout the entire dialogue, which is calmness. Remain very calm. and be very confident what you're saying is the truth. If you can take one or two individuals and explain to them peacefully that this is the right way, and those guys believe that the Imam's prayer is invalid, they will be willing to beat them up. We don't want to beat anybody, especially in the masjid, but at least you clarify to a few individuals that those people believe that the Imam's prayer is invalid. And guess what? They also think that your prayer is invalid. Right away, you have to cut it short and ask this person a question. You guys were praying with us, and you think that our prayer is invalid. So why were you following the Imam? And if they ever get to say it, then they will show the truth in their hearts, and all the audience will be convinced that those guys do not intend well. But anyway, in your prayer, stop thinking about anything, anybody around you, and focus on one thing. That this prayer which you just prayed could be your last prayer. As it was reported in one hadith that An-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said to his companions, or one of the companions, in order to make him acquire tranquility and khushu' and serenity in the salah, said, pray as if this is going to be your last prayer. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, we have Brother Amalt on the line from Belgium. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Alaikum salam.
Go ahead, brother.
You know, I'm a newcomer in Islam.
Okay, mashallah.
Yeah, and I'm still learning, you know. I came to Islam in 2000, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I live around many people from Morocco here, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, and they telling me all kind of things about in Islam, you must kill the Jewish people, don't like the Jewish people, you know.
Okay.
This thing is disturbing me, you know, because I believe Allah is good Allah. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when I learned about him, was...
what's your name, brother, again?
Okay,
what's his name?
Brother Amalto from Belgium.
Okay, I would like to, I hope you're listening right now. I just want to comment on what you said. That whether those Muslims who are living around you from Morocco, Algeria, Saudi Arabia, America, or Egypt, you would not find a single Muslim who's telling you that we must kill the Jews. This is totally fake. Whether the person who pretended that he or she is a Muslim is telling you that, or the person who's presenting the question is making it up, Allah knows best. But the Quran does not say that. Does not say kill the Jews. Does not say kill certain people. The Quran tells us to defend ourselves. The Quran teaches us to defend our belief and to be stern against the disbelievers who try to persuade and hinder Muslims from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and on the battlefield. To be brave, to show courage, to defend our belief and to die for the sake of Allah, not to betray, not to kill innocent people nor civilians. These are the teachings of the Quran, and now you're not listening to it from a person who is from here or there, but at least you're listening to these facts from a religious program and from a religious channel. I hope you got it, and I hope everybody who's listening to this understand that this is not the Islamic teaching. But when we have perpetrators and enemies of Islam from any background, I'm not going to name, even though we see the Zionist aggression on daily basis, are merciless people, are the rudest people on earth, but we do not say all the Jews are like that. There are many Jews who are opposing that, and there are many Jews who are religious, who are peace activists, so we cannot generalize. And whenever we fight, we only fight the enemies and on the battlefield. I hope you got the message clear.
Okay, Jazakallah, Doctor, for clarifying that. Okay, Sister Mariam from the UAE, she says one of her relatives wants to perform Hajj, but he doesn't have the money, and he wants to take a loan. Is this permissible?
You don't have to borrow in order to perform Hajj. Okay, once again, I'm going to specify and reiterate what I said. You don't have to borrow in order to perform Hajj. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. It is a duty upon mankind to perform Hajj to the house of Allah for those who can afford the means. The means are financial and physical. So somebody does not have the means, then he or she is exempt according to according to whatever disability they have. Meaning, if they are financially capable but physically incapable, then in this case, they must pay somebody who has performed Hajj before to perform Hajj in their state. But if you're financially incapable and even if you're physically capable, you don't have to borrow money in order to perform Hajj. But is it permissible? It is permissible if that you borrow and you have in your mind that you have a job, for instance, that you will pay off the loan on regular basis, will be steady, and it will not affect you, nor will it hurt you nor your family. When we say man istata' ilayhi sabila, that when you go for Hajj, you have money enough to cover the entire cost of the Hajj abroad, of the travel, and to return back, and also leaving money for your family members to spend out of it in your absence. Islam is a religion of mercy, and Allah does not ask any person to do anything that is beyond their capacity. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, and our second question is, how does a person deal with a father who works in an interest-based bank? When the father buys gift or invites the person, how does he react?
I actually give this question as a gift to those who are working in riba-based institutes, whether banks or financial firms or whatever. Just imagine the feeling of your family members who recognize, unlike you, you know that it is haram, but you say, well, somebody said it's halal. And well, what can I do? Everybody is doing it. So if everybody is going to hell, you want to go with them? No. So I'm giving you this question and this concern as a gift. I want you to feel their feeling. Their beloved father, they're reluctant to eat from his food. Their beloved parent, they don't know what to do when he dies and he leaves behind wealth that they know for sure that he has earned it from haram. It's very, very problematic. كل جسد نبت من سحت فالنار أولى به. And guess what? Whenever this father passes away and leaves behind this wealth, then it is permissible for the heirs to possess it, collect it, and divide it amongst them. And the sin of earning this money unlawfully will be laid on the shoulders of that person. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Can you imagine somebody will be punished and tortured in hell and in his grave for unlawfully earning some money which he did not even utilize? He left so that others would benefit out of it, and he will be held accountable for it. Please, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that on the day of judgment, no one will be dismissed before having to answer 4 questions. One of them is about his wealth. How did he earn it? And where and how did he spend it? So we have to prepare an answer to that. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, we have Sister Fadila from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum. Sister, you're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please. Okay, I think Sister Fadila is cut off there from Nigeria. We'll ask her to call again, inshallah. We'll take a short break here on Ask Huda, and we'll be back right after this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We are excited to inform our viewers that the Quran in Depth with Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan will be filmed live starting on Mondays at 1800 GMT.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the Quran, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. That we reveal from the Quran what is cure and mercy to the believers. So the Quran is the cure. Cure physically to the diseases physically in the body and in the heart. We were ordered to recite Surah Al-Fatiha in every time we stand in the Salah. Pillar of the Salah. We need to change our life according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, according to this book. As the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, that the Quran is the thing between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whoever holds fast to it, he would never be led astray.
We will take your calls and answer any questions you may have, as well as help you in your journey to understand the Quran properly. We hope you will join Huda TV and Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan every Monday from 1800 GMT until 1900 GMT for the Quran in Depth.
You know, sometimes it's important to take a break. We need to take a break. Take a break from what? From the everyday things to look at what we're really doing as Muslims. That's why we said we really need to have this program for you and for me to take a break right here on Huda TV. Stay with us because we've got a lot coming up on Take a Break.
I say that the translation has been indirectly influenced with the Israelite narrative.
We haven't faced any problems in our preparations.
You can't call it the wise Hajj. In Egypt, you have a huge amount of initiative going on in terms of developing qualifications in different parts of the system.
Reading helps you gain knowledge, but saving the net doesn't help you at all.
They are all welcome to participate in the discussion and the debate about the development of qualifications.
What types of books our children do or should read?
Join me for further discussion of Focus Point.
Huda, a light in every home.
It comes to you the truth and the attribute of the one who created you, that He's one and alone running this universe, that He doesn't become born, He doesn't die, He doesn't eat and then go to the bathroom. This is not God.
We have problems here. It doesn't make sense. Who was Jesus worshiping? Because it's recorded in the Gospels. Despite all of the other issues about the Gospels, we put those aside. We just say it's mentioned there that Jesus worshiped God.
One who protects us from hunger.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's good to have you back. You're watching Ask Huda. Just a quick reminder of our telephone numbers 00-202-38555-248 or 249, or you can write to us at ask, that's ask@huda.tv. Okay, we have Sister Fatima from Gambia. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Alaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Muhammad Salah. He's a very good Muslim. We always enjoy his lessons.
Ameen.
Ameen.
Thank you, sister. Jazakumullah khair.
Ameen.
Thank you so much, Doctor. But I want some questions.
Okay.
I would like to know whether do I have to pay zakat on my personal jewelry that I wear with my family? What does Islam say about female circumcision? Thank you.
Okay. That's Sister Fatima there from Gambia. Jazakallah khair. Sister Abdullah is asking about this website called Facebook. It's she says that there are a lot of games, quizzes that calculate the time of your life, if your fortune, your past life. She says a lot of relatives and Muslims indulge in these games. How does a person go about advising them that this is wrong?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. If you keep yourself busy with what's useful, you will not have a minute nor a second to learn those websites or those quizzes or nonsense that's even misleading non-Muslims, not just Muslims. One of the things which she mentioned, that by calculating or asking certain questions, it will tell you that as when will you die, stuff like that. So the sister was concerned about how can we give da'wah to those people who are in the website. I do not really distract my attention and waste my time by browsing those websites and those quizzes, because time is very, very valuable. And when you are sitting before any of those websites, time will zip by and will fly very fast. It can take an hour, 2 and 3 and 4, and they're very attractive. So I would rather do something that is useful for myself and my family members. And if I see somebody who's drinking, who's a non-Muslim, how good is it to tell him that drinking is haram and it is prohibited, and Allah said in the Quran? First of all, those people need to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That every morning people look in the paper in order to read their luck and their stars and see what they have today and what they have tomorrow and all of that. This practice in itself is an act of kufr and disbelief. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, من أتى عرافا أو كاهنا فصدقه فقد كفر بما أنزل على محمد. Notice that those who read their luck, their daily luck and their stars and fortune tellers, if you believe in that, this is an act of disbelief. It opposes totally the Quran and the contents of the Quran and the Sunnah. What if somebody is doing it for fun, like he calls this number or he just browses the website in order to see, even though he doesn't believe in it? Another hadith says that Allah would not accept a prayer from him for 40 days. So when Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu arda happened to hold the scripture from the scripture of the Old Testament, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw that, and he asked him, what is it? He said, this is one of the suhuf. He said, why? Why are you reading that? You have all what you need in the Quran. So better busy yourself with studying the Quran. I would extend that to those who read in the Gospel, but I don't understand, I don't know which version exactly do they read in order to pick mistakes, in order to debate Christians and non-Muslims, while they don't know a single surah of the Quran. So the priority is to remain on a firm ground by establishing the Aqidah, by studying your own deen, by learning the Quran and many ahadith. Then subject those people with da'wah. Talk to them about the concept of Tawheed. If I have a chance, as I say normally, that if I have 1 minute to address a non-Muslim and preach anything, then I would only talk about Tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very first statement that Allah ordered the messengers to preach their people with, the very first statement the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam upon sending messengers and rusul to the kings, to the sultans, to the rulers, he sent Aslim, Taslim. Read it. It says, number 1, talk about Tawheed. Then afterward, we can speak about other aspects such as that no one knows the unseen but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one definitely knows when he or she will die but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And talk about other aspects of Iman and articles of faith.
Okay, we have Brother Sai from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, Sheikh Salah didn't come last week. I just want to know if everything's okay.
Last week?
I think when Sheikh Walid was in the program.
Okay, last week, true. I was here, Sheikh Walid was visiting, and he's a dear friend of mine, and he's my elder brother, and I respect him so much. So I love the viewer to benefit out of his knowledge as well.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. That's it, Brother Saif?
Prophet Sallallahu the toilets were quite far from the houses. Yani, nowadays, we have it inside our room, we have it inside our house. Is that okay?
Okay.
Secondly,
we missed the first part of your question, brother. If you can repeat it, I would appreciate it.
Excuse me?
Would you please repeat your question again?
Yeah. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the toilets and the bathrooms were quite far from the houses. People had to go far.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have it inside our rooms and inside our houses. Is that okay?
It is okay. No problem with that.
Okay. My second question is regarding when the women used to pray. They used to pray just behind the men, and we didn't have any separation back then. And women could also put their opinions in the masjid, but now we see that it's a complete separate room they have. So why is there the difference?
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Saif.
In a minute, let me answer you in this regard, because number 1, the Prophet ﷺ appointed an independent door in the masjid and said this is the door of the ladies. So the Sahaba, even after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, would not enter nor exit from this door. So they had their entrance. And Nabi ﷺ explained to women that the best row of the rows of women is the rear one. So women kept the distance between them and men, in addition to the children and the youth were in between. Nowadays, what do we have? We have sisters who may go to the masjid wearing stretch or tight jeans or miniskirt or short blouses showing their navels, and they grab a khimar or a hijab or a scarf to cover up as much as you can in order to offer the prayer. Just yesterday, I was praying in one masjid. As I was exiting from the door, there were a bunch of ladies who were entering the masjid. I had to lower my gaze, and I could not imagine that they are entering the masjid in order to pray. They must be going to a nightclub or a night party. But this is what we have. So what we're doing is putting a partition or separating the ladies. I hope it's not an act of innovation. It is simply to minimize and eliminate the fitan. Because whether here or in the West, because what we see that women, not all of course, but I'm giving some examples. So in order to protect a man, I used to pray in one Islamic center where women said that women and men are the same, we should enter from the same door, we should mingle together and sit in the same place. I used to visit them every once in a while to lecture there. And can you just imagine that praying, a woman would pass in front of you wherein half of her body is uncovered.
SubhanAllah.
And wearing a whole bottle of perfume or cologne. That's not befitting. That's not proper. They don't understand the concept. And she would just step outside to smoke a cigarette, then step in it's a cultural center. It's not an Islamic center. Okay? So this is the purpose why Muslims have to keep a separate room or a partition, so that everybody will pray for those who would like to come to the masjid to pray. Number one, we say it is definitely permissible for women to attend the prayer in the masjid, but it is best for them to pray at home. Humaydin, may Allah be pleased with her, once asked the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, I love to pray behind you. Where? In Al-Madinah, in the prophetic masjid, where each salah is 1,000 times superior than any other prayer anywhere else other than Al-Masjid Al-Haram, because it's 100,000 times in Al-Masjid Al-Haram. And who is the Imam? Who is the Imam? It was not Sheikh Hudayfi, it was not a Sudais nor a Shuraim. The Imam was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did he say? How did he answer? He said, yes indeed, I know that you love to pray with me, yet your prayer at home is superior to your prayer with me in my masjid. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Why? Because it is more befitting for women to attend their houses as much as they can and would only exit for a need. If you remember in the story of Madian on Prophet Moses, because many people think that by attacking Islam with the spearhead, women, they take women and Islam is confiscating women's rights. Let's talk about during Prophet Moses' time. When he reached Madian, and he found a water well. He was resting his back against one of the trees. And what happened? He found وَجَدَ مِن دُونِهِمْ امْرَأَتَيْنِ تَذُودَانِ two women were trying to push away their cattle. So he approached them. He said, what's your matter? قالتا لا نسقي حتى يصدر الرعاء وأبونا شيخ كبير. What did they say? They say we cannot water, nor irrigate, nor fetch the water for ourselves and cattle, not unless men would get it first and finish it first. Okay? So there is the etiquette. Then number two, they said, وَأَبُونَا شَيْخٌ كَبِيرٌ. Meaning, the reason why they had to leave home in order to fetch the water and water the cattle and get water for themselves, because their dad was an older man. And once they had the first opportunity to stay at home and have somebody else work for them, right away they asked for it and they picked it up. They said, قالت إحداهما. One of them said to her dad, يا أبا تستأجر إن خير من استأجرت القوي المتين القوي الأمين. So she said, hire him, hire him. When Musa alayhi salam helped them out and he fished the water for them, etc. It's a long story, you know. Then they went home. One of them asked her father, why don't we hire him? They wanted somebody to do the job for them. Obviously, he married one of his daughters to him, and you know the story. But we learn from this interesting story at the time of Musa alayhi salam that even women prefer to stay at home, and they would only leave whenever it was necessary. Nobody is to support them, nobody to do the job for them, and at the earliest opportunity when there was a man to do it, they picked up the offer. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, we have Brother Muhammad from Mauritania on the line. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
That application that we can have a long cloth.
Brother Muhammad?
Is it a sunnah or not a sunnah?
Brother Muhammad, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, my second question is...
Your first question, actually, we're waiting for.
My first question.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do zakat on July.
So, okay. Uh-huh.
But this year, I would like to postpone it until August in order to do it during the Ramadan.
Okay.
Is it permissible?
Okay.
Very interesting question.
Okay, and your second question?
Yes, my second question is about sloth. Prophet ﷺ said Abu Bakr did not do it in a rude way. Once I was talking to one of brothers here, he said I have to get my clothes after. I said, Abu Bakr used not to do it, but the problem is you do it in a bad intention.
Okay, okay.
So could you give me some explanation about that?
Okay. Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Muhammad there from Mauritania. Okay, Sister Wafa from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, she wants to know if someone can find out if black magic was done. And then she gave the story of a relative or a close family member was just walking on the street, and then a man on the street said that black magic was done to him, and then he came and he did ruqya on him without taking any payment or anything else. She wants to know if anyone just can know like that black magic was done on a person, and can the person find out?
No, a person can or may find out only through some symptoms. When the person is not behaving normally, even though he's physically fit, or physician diagnose them with no disease whatsoever, but he loses his memory, or he is not behaving well. He doesn't know whether he prayed or not. He doesn't know whether he did this or not. Similar to what happened when the Prophet ﷺ was under a magical spell cast upon him by a Jew from the Jews of Al-Madinah. But for any ordinary person to look at a person and say that this person is under black magic, it is very hard to tell. Remember that the Prophet ﷺ only figured out that he was under a magical spell when Jibreel ﷺ informed him. And you know the story when Jibreel ﷺ came and he informed him where exactly was the magical spell buried. Then the Nabi ﷺ sent Ali ibn Abi Talib to fetch it out, and he undid it with reciting the last two chapters of the Quran, Al-Mu'awwidhatayn, Al-Falaq and An-Nas. So it is good to give ruqya, and it is good to advise a person to recite Surah Al-Baqarah on regular basis, etc. All Al-Mu'awwidhat and the Adhkar and the ruqya. But I really abstain myself from telling everybody I meet that you are under magical spell. Because people like to hang all their problems on this hanger. Somebody whose two daughters did not get married, right away he calls me and say, you know what, I feel that there is a magical spell cast upon me at home and we need to do something about it. I said, how do you know? That they're not married yet. So what? Even if they die without getting married, does this necessarily mean that somebody casts a magical spell against you, and that makes you suspicious of every person who enters your house, and you review your history? Who visited us since last year? And start being suspicious. This is really terrible. Do not be superstitious. Believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Put your trust in Him. Recite your regular adhkar. And if there is anything, seek the remedy for it with the regular physicians or doctors. And if you have a girl or a son that they want to get married, pursue this marriage process reasonably. And guess what? Without doing anything, subhanallah, many marriage proposals came to him. And they used to turn them down. And finally they both got married. So I talked to him and I say, what was the magical spell? What was that? Or was it undone by itself? So not necessarily. It does not mean I deny it. I say it may happen, and it happened to the Prophet ﷺ. And the Quran confirmed this fact. وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ حَتَّى يَقُولَ إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ. The Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah stated several verses concerning sorcery and magic in order to free Sulaiman alayhi Prophet Sulaiman, from the sin that the Jews cast upon him by saying that Sulaiman was a disbeliever because he was a sorcerer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانَ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ مَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ. This is a long story. But simply to tell somebody from looking at him that you're under a magical spell or somebody have done a black magic to you, is very hard to tell. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Doctor, for being with us today. And we thank also the viewers who have called and who have listened to all the answers that was given by the doctor. And just before we leave you, we'd like to remind you of our email address. That's ask@huda.tv. And don't forget, you can keep supporting us just by sending that email at support@huda.tv, and our website, www.huda.tv. Until next time, I leave you in Allah's care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If my love is attached to thee, then from sins I will be free. Each time my heart will beat, your name will resound with heat. Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest.